Welcome back to the channel, Adventures Through Climate Change with your host, Trevor. That's me. And we take an armchair approach, and now we read articles and watch videos, primarily watch videos, other people's videos that they spend so much time doing. Am I a pirate? I don't think so, because I'm not even going to monetize, and a lot of these people, they end up getting copyright off of you watching it off of mine, right? There's ads, YouTube's making ads, and I think they're getting financially paid for that, because I am not. I will not monetize. Of course, I don't only have on this channel like 200 something subscribers. With that being said, today we are watching Trash Island. Is it a myth? It's the ocean cleanup. Okay, we're subscribed, we're liked. I think we watched something not. They didn't actually produce the video, but about them. I think we watched a video about them. So let's check it out from their mouth. Huh. Did you see that one?
We are in the middle of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
That one was like, do you ever wonder why we never see pictures of it? If it's that big, it should be pictures all over the place.
And we found on the internet a lot of questions about that trash island floating in the middle of the ocean. So today we're trying to answer some of those questions.
My name is Helen, and I work on the research team at the Ocean Cleanup.
And my name is Laurent. I'm the head of research at the Ocean Cleanup, and we study plastic pollution. What do I get? Hey, Helen, isn't there a floating island of trash somewhere in the middle of the ocean?
There is no floating island of trash. Most of the places where there are large accumulations of floating plastic debris look pretty similar to what's behind us. You're not necessarily going to see a huge mound of trash that you can walk on. I do like the visual of a plastic soup, though. That's also what I tell people, is that it's less of an island and more of a stew, a plastic stew, out here floating, sort of dispersed, but definitely still an accumulation zone of plastic. If this garbage patch is 3 times the size of France, why can't we see this continental-sized plastic island?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. Well, again, there is no floating island, right? What we say is this accumulation area that we estimate is about 3 times the size of France is looking like this, basically. Now that looks like the ocean, but when you look closer, there's a bunch of little particles and some random objects floating all over this area. So that's why we just cannot see it as, a giant pile of trash. This is just an accumulation zone where we find just more plastic than anywhere else on Earth in the ocean. If it was a trash island, probably it'd be easier to clean it up, because we could just go out there with some crane and just remove that trash. The problem is far more complex, because plastic is dispersed over a very large area. Therefore, it is really hard to go and clean. We cannot go with a boat and pick up every little piece of plastics from the ocean, right? That would just take for decades. And so that's why at the Ocean Cleanup, we are developing those cleanup systems that are trying to concentrate that plastic dispersed over a very large distance. And once that plastic is concentrated enough, we can actually remove it from the ocean.
I have a question. Why do we have landfills and islands of trash in the ocean when we can just throw everything in a volcano and have it turn into lava and do that whole rock cycle thing?
Yeah, I mean...
You'd activate the...
Yeah, what did we think about that? I mean, if you burn plastic, or if you put plastic in, let's say, a volcano, it is likely going to emit a lot of greenhouse gases and a lot of nasty chemicals into the atmosphere. And we also have another issue called global warming. So this is definitely not a viable solution, I would say. And good luck to bring all that trash up in the volcano and do it safely.
Yeah, I'm not hiking up there with you.
How do they end up in the ocean if someone leaves it on the street or forest?
Plastic ends up in the ocean from land through a few different ways, but one of the most common ways, and one that we've been researching as well is transport through river systems. So from city streets or something, it'll end up in a canal system or in just a river system, and then sort of flow out with the river flow into the ocean, and from there be taken by different currents and end up where these currents converge in the open ocean, like in the North Pacific subtropical gyre. As for forests, we hope that there isn't much plastic in forests. It'll be harder for it to get out to the ocean from there, but I wouldn't be surprised if a plastic bag gets picked up by wind or, a bird. Plastic has been found in the desert when it's in camel stomachs. Yeah, definitely like ingestion of plastic by animals is one way for it to be transported across land and in the ocean, of course.
Plastic doesn't always come from land sources. A lot of it also comes from marine sources, and particularly fishing. And that's something we find a lot here in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. It's fishing gear, so fish nets and some crates and buoys and fish traps and all sort of things. And they're very common objects here all around us.
It makes sense, right? Because it's like that's the industry that operates out here.
Yes.
That's what exists, this far away from other human activity.
That is true. Yeah, plastic, that comes from fishing activities, will be transported to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch much more easily than plastic coming from rivers that tends to go back to coastline.
And it's made of marine grade material normally.
More
too.
resistant.
The buoys and the fishing nets are super resistant to whatever weathering factors are common out here. I've been hearing about this for years, but I've never actually seen it. How does the density of plastic in this area compare to any other area in the ocean?
Well, that's a really good question. This is probably at the surface of the ocean, this is the area where we have the highest concentration of plastic permanently. There are some places in the ocean where you can have more plastic at the surface of the ocean, but this is transient, meaning like next to rivers, for instance, you would have, if there is a big flux of plastic coming out of rivers, you may have really high concentration, but that plastic will disperse. The garbage patches, this one is one of 5, are areas that accumulate plastic over time, and no matter the year or the season you come into it, you will always find persistent plastic concentration here. So here we estimate about 1 million pieces of little bits of plastics per square kilometers, concentration between 10 to 100 kilograms of plastics per square kilometers. That's a big number, but when you think about it, that brings it back to 1 pieces per square meter. So, a little piece of plastic per square meter. Now the thing, it's a huge ocean, so once you get all of this together, that's a huge pile of trash island. Why isn't there any satellite image of the plastic island?
Ooh, that's a good
Because
one.
there's no island.
Look at the sky; it's too cloudy. We're actually trying on this research mission that we're out on right now to get some satellite imagery of some of the bigger plastic accumulations, like the big ghost nets. We'll see. It's tricky because you have to time it right. The satellites are very far away, so the plastic has to be pretty big for the satellite to pick it up.
But once again, I think the plastic here in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch is too dispersed. It's all about little pieces, trillions of little pieces just dispersed over millions of square kilometers. So you cannot really see that with the current satellite missions. But there are scientists that are working on new missions in the next few years, trying to dedicate mission to detect plastics from space. But once again, there is no trash island. And so we cannot see it from space because we cannot even see it from here.
We keep joking about this island of trash that's floating in the ocean, but what are we doing about it?
Yeah, what are we doing
about it? Laurent?
Well, first we've been studying for that accumulation zone that we call the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. Now the thing is, this is not an island of trash. I mean, we've said that already, but I think it's good to repeat it. I think there's few things we can do about it. First, we Here at the Ocean Cleanup, we're trying to remove that waste from the ocean. So we try to get rid of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. But obviously, we don't want more plastic to enter the ocean in the future, right? Because we don't want to be the garbage man of the ocean forever, right? So we want to get out of business, and that's really important. So what do we do about it? Like, let's make sure that we stop putting plastic in the ocean in the first place, and then for the plastic that is already there, let's try to remove as much as possible before it breaks down into smaller bits and pieces that will be nearly impossible to remove in the future.
Big concern.
And whoa, it's moving a lot right now.
Hold on.
Hold on. Well, yeah, thanks for listening.
If you do have any more questions, we'd love to hear them, either in the comments or shoot us an email. And
That's pretty good.
Yeah, from the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, this is Helen and Laurent signing off.
Bye.
I mean, I obviously appreciate what these guys do. I don't think it's like this is a big climate change thing, with the exception of the microplastics in the waters. And I mean, they're everywhere. It's everywhere. And that's a huge concern for me. So I do think we need to worry about that. And I think it's doing all sorts of stuff to our bodies and making it so that humans aren't as efficient at being humans as they could be, in my opinion. That's the nicest way I could put it without being a conspiracy theorist. Anyways, I think that's a major issue. I think that the cleanup in the oceans, all things like litter and stuff, I can back. Let's get on board with that. I do not like trash. I think it's hideous. I think people need to do their responsibility. When I walk by trash, I pick it up. My kids pick it up. We throw it in the nearest trash. I can't stand it. It's one of those things that I do think we need to be good stewards of the earth. I don't think real climate change, the way people think about it, exists. But, I mean, I think the climate changes. I just don't think the human interference is as influential as some people think. With that being said, hey, maybe I earned your subscription. Maybe not. Maybe they earned your subscription. The Ocean Cleanup. Go check them out. If anything else, lay down a comment for me so that I can see the right direction of the channel. I do appreciate you guys watching, and I hope to catch you in the next video.